day 6 of the coronavirus lockdown here in the UK, and we've had some extraordinary good weather and just been doing all of the kind of jobs that you never get around to doing, as well as taking a bit of exercise, walking the dogs. So I can't believe it's the first day since we've been locked indoors that I've actually had a chance to get in the garage. Right, what have I been doing? Got to do some work on the brakes and master cylinders, but I've only got a couple of hours, so I thought I'd have a look at the seat and tail unit again. I've got this rear panel here in I think four layers of fiberglass, which kind of provides the angle for the seat, and I was struggling to find any either polyurethane or polystyrene. It's not a huge bit, but just couldn't get any. So what I've found is a nice bit of a very fine cardboard from our friends at Amazon, delivering a parcel. And what I did was just very tightly form it around both the base and the curve on the back of the sort of seat rest, and then just trimmed it to size while sort of taping it on and all the rest of it. And I have a reasonably firm base to actually put a bit of fiberglassing on, and then rather than making a pug and then making a nice smooth mould and then sticking it in and all the rest of it, I'll see how it goes, but I'll probably just sand it down using filler like I did on the engine cowlings, and just finish it that way. Still thinking in terms of brake light, something a bit different and maybe a little bit special. And I think my quandary at the moment, because I intend to use Viking seats, custom seats, which I use for the dual pillion type, the original modified seat, because they do an excellent job and I'd highly recommend them. But I need to have a chat with them really, so I'm going to form this up and then cut it out so that it's in effect a loose piece that I can either fix in and finish it off, or whether I can take it out and do something with the back light and all the rest of it. But I guess what I need to speak to them about is, obviously I'm going to glue the foam in, and I've got 2 lots of foam from my local place. I didn't go on I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday when I went there and they were locked. I went there previously, but they were shut. not through coronavirus, just shut. But I'm going to use this thinner bit here just to take out some of the lumps and bumps around this quite detailed, and it's got 2 big channels here. It's got a strengthening panel here. It's got a channel here for cabling and a box here for the relays and wiring. So I'm just going to put that in there and cut that into shape and all the rest of it, maybe fill in the bits here, just so that I get a nice flat base to start with. And then I've got some, and this is very high density. I think this is I think they said it was on, you get density of 1 to 8, and this was number 5. So it's very, very high compression. And then I will then glue that in there, like that. And I will shape it, and I've got enough density and sort of depth to sculpture something which is going to look nice and at the same time be comfortable. Right, as you can see, this line is all starting to come together nicely, which goes through the seat base, down the side panel, and follows down through the footbed hangers. So I've got a nice kind of design line sort of flowing there. But it's not until, and you know, I am making this up as I'm going along, as it were. I also have to sort of, and I've followed as far as I can the line here of the side panel. But when you start to look at it, and I've got a narrower tailpiece, and then it comes obviously wider for the seat. And I could make that narrow, but then you'd see the top of the frame and all the rest of it. But as you can see, and it's probably not until I do that you can appreciate we've got a bit of a coming around too much of the tailpiece here, and then the seat starts to flare out. So I need to, before I fiberglass this tail unit, is to come up with something which I think takes that line from the tailpiece and takes it smoothly into the seat base. So that's my next challenge, and then once I've got that sorted, fiberglass. Okay, I've had a look at this, and it's difficult to fiberglass mat onto thin air. You need something, a mould or something to actually adhere to give it that strength while it's setting off. So what I'm going to do, I'll just show you, is that I built up some cardboard and just taped that underneath to provide a bit of support. And rather than try and fiberglass something in here and it's all wobbling and all gets very tricky, I'm going to use P38 Isopon filler. I'm just going to fill in these little corners here, build it up. It may take several times, and then I can sand it down till I get the shape right, and then I can fiberglass over the top of it. Okay, so I've put some filler on these, and as you can now see, the curve is nice and smooth, and there's no sort of indent. There's a slight indent. I'm going to build it up a little bit more as you come up a little bit. Yeah, as you can see, yeah, that doesn't look too bad now. And the same on this side. Nice smooth curve there. So I've just built a little bit of filler around this edge here and a little bit there. I've just got to smooth this out a bit. I mean, this is only cardboard here anyway. The other thing that I've done is I've just started to build up and smooth out. Just got to put a bit more there, just so that this edge is at 90 degrees to this and it doesn't waver around at all. It's going to be covered up by the seat cover and a very thin layer of foam, but I just want that to be nice and smooth. There's no rippling or anything like that. Now, also, whilst I took this mould off of the original seat, because the frame was modified and in effect the seat was just slightly lifted up to sit on the new slightly raised seat catch, it did two things. Firstly, it increased the gap along here, which I've now fixed with this sort of returned edge, but also because I'd taken the mould off of it and it was sort of flaring out in line with the old seat, I had to trim it back because it was coming further away. But this blue line represents the edge of the fiberglass mould. This purple line is the edge of the petrol tank, and as you can see, as it gets down here, in fact this blue line's a bit wrong, it actually comes further away from the corner here. So I've got about a 12mm gap, and I think the seat and the foam rolling around that edge, over that edge, is only going to take up about 2 or 3mm. So it's going to leave me with about a 9mm gap, which I don't want. I want a nice tight gap like here, which is about 5mm, which with the seat cover on will just leave a nice even 2 to 3mm gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to attach some cardboard as firm as I can possibly make it to the inside of the seat mould here, just like, and tape it on, and then I will tease it all off, cut to that purple line, the cardboard and the tape, and then strengthen it all up, and then fiberglass, a strip maybe 2 to 3 inches wide around the back of that on the inside, a couple of layers thick, just to bridge that gap a little bit. So I don't want it coming any further out this way, so it's got to be on the underside, because that would bring it too far out and it would then stick out. But at the same time, I don't want it with an uneven and a bigger gap than necessary. So all part and parcel really of the sort of tinkering with it to make sure that it all fits, and that now that it's all on seat catch and it's all solid in one piece, you know, it enables me to do that. That's a little bit of extra work, but yeah, what else would I be doing during a lockdown? Right, as I said, I'll put a cardboard collar around the seat where it goes onto the tank, and I've increased that by about 15 mil, so that when I fiberglass, and I'm just going to put some matting around there like that, a couple of layers, and then and I've covered it in parcel tape so that we've got a bit of a release thing going on there. And I think apart from, I just need to, when it's done, put some tape around there just to pull these bits in here. Other than that, the shape is pretty good. And then that will allow me to just trim it back very carefully, bit by bit, until I get that nice sort of shut line between the seat and the tank. So, without further ado, back to the fiberglass. So as you can see, it just gives me another 15 mil all the way around the edge, which is now joined onto the original fiberglass. And I think when I've trimmed it to size and all the rest of it, just so that it doesn't flex too much. I mean, there's only 2 layers, but it is pretty strong. I might just do another layer on the inside, just to stop it delaminating or anything like that. Just take off that sharp edge and just put one layer of glass fibre just around the edge, just to tie it all together so it's nice and tight. So now I can start trimming this back bit by bit until it fits really snugly. So yeah, that was a lot easier than I thought, although time will tell as to whether or not it's flared out too much whilst I've been putting the fiberglass on. We shall see.